This week we're going to talk about games that had good ideas and good intentions, but in execution, most of them knob it up immensely. I'd say that's pretty topical at the moment. Let's get going. First up is Bongo. No, that's the Congo. Those are bongos. That's a different Pongo. That's Ponyo. That's Pingu. Those are pingers. You're not even trying! So, you're on a pogo stick, jumping around, shooting things, and, I've started to notice a pattern about these shitty indie games. That being, they seem to think that their lack of budget seems to be an excuse to skimp on the context. Not understanding the relatively simple premise of, if you're not going to give me a reason to give a fuck, I'm not going to give a fuck. I'm not saying all games need this treatment. I don't need to know the tragic backstory of the green candy to understand its pain and suffering. But that's a defeatist attitude. You should at the very least give it a fair cop. But even if you don't, well then your boy here is on the case. It was a bright sunny day. You and your son were hanging out in the treehouse, drawing crayon pictures and drinking orange juice and just having a gay old time. However, when you were staring outside the window, watching the birds fly past, your son accidentally made a pact with the devil and summoned a portal to the pits of hell, sucking you in, leaving only your severed leg behind. Whoops! You silly Billy. So after you patch up your stump leg and replace it with a machine gun pogo stick, you discovered that hell is actually a design student's first year modelling project and must go through 45 levels of poorly laid out platforming and shooting challenge. Okay, fuck this isn't getting us anywhere. So as wonderful as this idea was, and as stomach-churningly sappy is the relationship between FPS and verticality,
by that I mean it's quite good,
the same cannot be said of that of FPS and platforming, even on a good day when FPS has apologized with roses and a box of chocolates. What I'm saying is, with shit level design and controls about as responsive as nailing the mouse and keyboard to a wall and then throwing bricks at them, this game is a load of wank. And I must say, I am truly, deeply, heartbrokenly disappointed. There are some cocking great ideas on display here, but like a beheading in an earthquake, the execution is shaky as fuck, and has left me unwilling to recommend. So I give this game a, okay, this metaphor scoring system was not a good idea. I should probably thought this through a bit more. Out of 10. Next up is Tin Boy. It's basically Aperture Science back in the Dark Ages, and it's a load of shit. I don't have much else to say, really. It could have been a simple, inoffensive, possibly fun puzzle side-scroller. However, problem is the developers wouldn't understand the concept of decent user interface if it snuck up behind them and strangled them to death. Get this. You got 3 bow and arrow gadgets, and instead of mapping them to separate buttons or choosing to select them with keyboard shortcuts, what you have to do is you have to click on the knight, then choose the gadgets, then you can use it. And when you have to change arrows mid-air with timed swinging puzzles, compounded with the complete negligence of the basic laws of physics, this game can fuck right off. I give this rogue out of 10. Okay, let's keep this snappy. This is Grapple, the story of a swing ball, having grown sick of being unappreciated by the prepubescent masses, has escaped to an alternate dimension to be free to swing through space to his heart's content. Okay, let's stop fucking around here. This is Spider-Man 2, boiled down to its simplest, purest injectable form. 80 levels with a deluge of variety that range from challenging to fucky-bousy fun. Only complaint is that the space aesthetic is rather drab and cliche. If you could use the pickups to unlock more skins and art style, that would have been lovely, and it would have given more incentive to collect them rather than just to make an arbitrary number become arbitrarily higher. But apart from that, this game is sense-sploffing-sational. I give it whee out of 10. Next is a fucking singular verb being used as a fucking pronoun. That's some cheeky fucking shit right there. But anyway, bleed. And because I like a challenge... So... this game is good, and it actually has a story that I don't have to make up. That being, you are a lady who wants to be a hero, but not to protect peace, justice, or the American way. No, she's just an erotic attention whore.
Note to self, being a YouTuber means I withhold the right to call people attention whores.
However, this aspect of her personality is played up for laughs and makes for a very interesting, very fun character. Also, the gameplay is fun, and uses slow-mo and shooting that makes for some rollicking good fun. However, However, the bosses, while being rather creative and interesting, can be rather obtusely annoying, seeing as the time distortion mechanic is rather limited and you can only use about as much of it as something that you use very little of. Okay, if it sounds like I'm not really too much into this, it's because I'm fucking well not. On the spectrum of shit that's fun to write, talk, Photoshop about, this is in that critic's no man's land between complete and total bollocks and splendorous comeliness. Yes, that is a real word, but it's just kind of boring to write, talk, Photoshop, whatever the fuck, about. I mean, it's competent, it does its job, it's fun while it's there, but once it's consumed, it just goes right through you and you never think about it again. Like Diet Pepsi. Seriously, have you seen the amount of artificial shit is in that shit? So I give this, it's alright. Out of 10. Last up is Dark Echo. Not to be confused with Dark Echoes, a Harry Potter fanfiction, which is,
Oh dear.
So, here's the game. What? Can't see anything? Well, you know the saying, what you can't see scares you most? Well... Yep, that's right. You walk around a place that's very dark, and you can only see by using echoes. This is officially the most descriptive title of all time. Good job, everybody. Round of applause. Yay. Woo! Woohoo! Hey, what's that? Oh, Jesus! Fuck yeah! Swedish words! Alright, let's cut this shit. This is the single most atmospheric game that has ever existed, and it scares my bloody bollocks off. There's no narration, no text, no dopey cunt walking behind you going, fuck me, it's dark in here. Just in case you haven't noticed, no. It purely tells its story just through its level design and sound engineering, and it is fucking perfect. I'm not even gonna try and ruin it with some silly, nonsensical context, because that's your job. You're supposed to do that. The developers had an idea, did everything they could with that idea, and pulled it off flawlessly. I mean, knob-dockingly flawlessly. I've got a quota to keep up. So I give this, but in a good way, out of 10.